Mozambican government has formally launched an exchange offer for its defaulted 2023 Eurobond, seeking the consent of bondholders for a restructuring that would ease pressure on its strained public finances. Mozambique said in May it had agreed a restructuring deal in principle with the majority of the holders of the dollar-denominated bond, one of the instruments at the center of a hidden debt scandal that triggered a currency collapse. In the exchange offer, Mozambique said settlement of the restructuring of the bond was expected to occur on September 30 if the offer was approved by at least 75% of bondholders. Well, global warming, climate change and the Paris Accord have become defining factors of international and domestic political agenda. At the recently held G7 summit in Biarritz, France, it caused controversy between the US and EU. At the center of the debate is the price and the use of coal as a source of energy. Nigeria is just beginning to invest in coal as a source of alternative energy and export commodity, much prospects are there in this commodity. Well, Adim Okwesa, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company, will dissect this for us. Hello, Adim. Good afternoon. So what are the prospects for the global coal industry, and in light of rising awareness for climate change, should Nigeria continue investing in this commodity for export?
Yes, definitely. I should say that climate change and global warming have definitely become topical issues because the effects are becoming more apparent and profound. I mean, weather patterns are becoming predictable, are becoming more unpredictable. Rising sea levels, rising temperatures are causing problems across the world. So with that said, fossil fuels, including coal and oil, are dying commodities. However, the reality is that there is demand for coal. There is still strong. The prospects for the industry is still very positive. Yes, demand for coal is contracting in Europe and North America, but those regions only account for a very small portion of demand. The big chunk of demand comes from Asia, mostly from India and China. So there is still that side. In fact, Asia accounts for about 76% of global coal demand. For Nigeria, there's a pressing need to diversify the economy, to reduce the economy's dependence on oil. We have about 2.6 billion of coal deposits. So it would be unfortunate if these vast resources are unutilized and unexploited. So yes, in a simple answer, I think we should still continue investing in coal because it is still viable, at least for the near to medium term.
Now, the global price of coal has fallen by about 33% in 2019, yet coal-fired electricity is responsible for 41% of global power output. In Nigeria, of 7,000 megawatts of on-grid power, less than 15% is from coal. Should we continue to rely on coal as a source of electricity in spite of the climate effect?
Yeah, there's no denying the climate effect. In fact, coal is the biggest contributor is the most carbon intensive fossil fuel and the biggest contributor to climate change. But the other side of the argument is that coal as a source of power generation is cheaper and even more reliable than other sources of power generation. For Nigeria, boosting our electricity capacities overrides or supersedes all other concerns. I think there's evidence that suggests that if we just increase our power output by modest amounts, the impact on economic output and our living standards will be immense. And this situation is not only unique to Nigeria. All other African countries are investing in coal to boost electricity. To mitigate the concerns of climate change, what we can do is that we can invest in cleaner technologies which harness coal in a much cleaner and sustainable way. And also, if we want to build coal-fired power plants, we should situate those power plants far away from communal areas and marine environments. So I think we can do that to mitigate those concerns of climate change.
All right, thank you for your time, Adim Okwesa of Financial Derivatives Company. Well, Kenya exported its first oil on Monday amid pointed speeches by local leaders asking the government to stick to its commitment to share revenues from future shipments equitably. Kenya's Monday shipment was 250,000 barrels of oil. The crude is trucked to the port since there is no pipeline.
Although commercial production is years away, the discoveries have heightened expectations that citizens, especially those living adjacent to the deposits, will benefit. President Uhuru Kenyatta signed a long-awaited petroleum bill into law in March that regulates oil exploration and production and outlines how revenues will be shared between the government, local communities and companies.
Kenya's grand march to oil and gas production and export has now begun. The flagging off of this maiden consignment represents a new dawn, not just for Kenya, but also for our region, and the beginning of a new era of greater prosperity for all Kenyans.
The law is required for large-scale oil production, but was delayed by tussles between layers of government and residents of Turkana, the impoverished northern region where the oil deposits are found.
And for update from the Nigerian equities market, let's talk to Temple. Hello, Temple. So what's new?
Well, Chimazo, nothing's new. We've still got the bearish sentiment in the market. We're seeing a huge sell-off in the markets. The market's been bleeding all day, even though we know that we had a bit of a green start. But as we speak, it's still very, very red. At a point in time, we saw losses around 0.79%, but now it's kind of moderated to some 0.53%. The losses we're seeing is across the oil and gas industry, sectors rather. I think a lot of investors are really bearish about that sector now, given the thinning margin that we're beginning to see around the oil marketing giants that we have in that sector. Seplat is down by about 10% right now to some 390-something naira. It hasn't been in that regime for so long. Total PLC is also very much lower right now to some 96 naira 50 kobo, losing about 9% in the market. So that's where we're seeing the beating in the market. A few other sectors like the banking names are seeing a bit of mixed sentiment. We see some profits taking on the likes of First Bank. I will see some sell-off on the likes of GT Bank, that's Guarantee Trust Bank. For Transco is having a fields day because this is a company that has actually fallen to as low as 92 kobo. So some good speculators are playing on that, having their fields day on this particular company right now. As we speak, it's back up to some 1 naira 7 kobo, fluctuates between that and 1 naira 5 kobo. Chimeze.
All right, Temple, let's continue to keep our fingers crossed. In South Africa, Standard Bank has taken a stake in local fintech firm Namonini to offer credit to potentially millions of small shop owners and other informal retailers across Africa that have limited access to banking services. Africa's biggest bank by assets has invested $4 million in Nomanini, which connects informal merchants with distributors via an e-wallet and aims to roll the service out across 14 African countries by early 2021. 9 out of 10 retail transactions in Africa are conducted in cash or via informal channels like kiosks and open-air markets, and that's according to a 2017 report by audit firm Deloitte. Using Nomanini technology, Standard Bank will collect and analyze data on the retailers. Standard Bank hopes that its licenses to lend and offer other products such as insurance will give it the edge over mobile operators that currently dominate financial services in markets like Kenya. And that's a wrap on the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Chimezi Obi Iwago.